Please put it on the screen so that at least we'll have 2 minutes from Saka on these subjects before we move on also subsequently intensely on the subject. And he says that listen to the insensitive arguments by the MPP to be allowed by the suffering citizens of Ghana to remain in power, and here's their record. And Dr. Kofi Amwa, a known entrepreneur, had worked a lot in the US, come to invest in Ghana, and of course subsequently had his business going down. Says the current economy is broke, bankrupt. Well, it's on the screen. Sorry.
Yeah,
maybe you don't.
I've looked at it. I've looked at it.
Largest debt, and this is record.
So
highest inflation. No, I'm not the one saying it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know.
West City, high joblessness, and then he puts corruption in caps. And you know, on social media, when you put corruption in caps, it means it's for emphasis. What do you say to the 2 minutes?
Yeah, just 2 minutes. This one,
Dr. Kofi Amwa, raising concerns.
I think that it smacks of hypocrisy on the part of Dr. Kofi Amwa. This is a person I used to respect so much. You said it rightly. In 2008, Can 2008, he was one of the local organizing committee members and all that. And you remember the nominalization committee. He was a chairman and all that. But you see, we as a political party have never had problem with such people, especially businessmen and all that. But you see, if you listen very careful or watch very careful what he wrote, you can see, you know, within the facade, that this is...
Put the post so that we'll know what he's referring to.
Yeah. You can see some facade of trying to create...
By Dr. Kofi Amwa.
Yeah, trying to create impression of being with the Ghanaian people and all that. But it's a person that over the years, one can easily see through the hypocrisy and the facade of this particular statement. That this is coming... Dr. Kofi Amwa is a hypocrite. This is coming from... somebody... Dr. Kofi Amwa is a hypocrite. Exactly. This is coming from somebody who is so bitter. You remember, I mean, you just mentioned this a global access saving and loan company that were not doing well, and he himself had, you know, the occasion to fire the managing director for the loss of about $5 million. They are unable to even keep their books well. He went and borrowed money and then put the liability on the company, hired his premises on at a very exorbitant price, leading to the collapse of the business. And now, you remember, I mean, when the savings and loans went on liquidation, whether or not you belong to the ruling government, whether or not you have friends within government, whether or not you have ever worked with government, it does not matter.
You think because it's a bitter person, that's why he...
Yeah, the decision was taken without any favor. And therefore, if Citizen Kofi Amwa decided that he will go in a different route, use different means to ensure that, because what did Afenyomakin say? Afenyomakin was actually telling us the truth. The fact that your mama is not a new person, he lacked ideas to come back and then paddled this nation, you know, to the promised land. It is the truism. He mentioned corruption, and who doesn't know your mama is a corrupt former president? Who doesn't know about the Airbus situation? Who doesn't know about the Amajaro? Who doesn't know about the fact that even former President Mills had to set a committee to investigate him? A committee that was chaired by William Abwa and co. Who doesn't know all the problems?
You were there at the committee when the sittings were on?
Oh, why would I be there? I mean, these are information, all the things that you are telling us, or you've been telling us. I mean, Matanamidu. Okay. Not only Matanamidu, and other well-meaning Ghanaians. So I'm saying that if he is saying that this government is corrupt and he's trumpeting the coming of a different person, of which he is talking about John Dramani Mahama, then of course that is the height of hypocrisy. And that's exactly why when I started, I said that this is a height of hypocrisy, and somebody who is bitter for the wrong reasons because the government wanted to clean the financial space, and therefore if your saving and loan company, you know, could not manage the affairs well. I mean, to the extent that almost everything, it was bankrupt. They could not pay customers and all that. And the irresistible conclusion was for government to take the decision that they took. Now, after taking that decision, almost invariably, every opportunity that he got, he has to, you know, lambast and poppoon government. And I think that is quite unfortunate.
Unfortunate for him. So what do you say to the issues constantly as a consumer, and then also what Dr. Kofi Amwa has been saying about the government in the first place?
Okay, so where do we start from?
Start from Dr. Kofi Amwa.
Thank you.
Just 2 minutes on that. Even though, of course, Salia took more, but please...
Okay, so this morning, all that Sakasalia decided to do is to leave the message and go attacking the messenger.
I don't understand. You are saying that he's attacking the messenger?
Yes.
But he's saying that the message is not credible.
So what exactly is Dr. Kofi Amwa saying? We can interrogate the numbers, and the numbers will show whether he had peddled falsehood, right? Now the man says that the Akufo-Addo administration today, if they were students, the scorecard, their terminal report is 1, bankrupt economy. 2, largest debts. 3, highest inflation, worst performing CD, highest joblessness, and corruption. He could not unseal one or discredit him for any of the scorecard that he's provided, but decided to do an ad hominem attack on him. First of all, organized labor today, as we speak, have served notice that 3rd of May, they are going on demonstration. Do you know why? Every month, government of Ghana, being also an employer, is supposed to deduct a certain percentage from their salary and give that amount of money to SNIT. As we speak, for the past 8 months, the Akufo-Addo administration is indebted to 700,000 Ghanaian workers, amounting to over 1 billion Ghana cedi. That's bankruptcy. I am saying that the Akufo-Addo administration today, they are indebted because they are in default. They are not able to give the Ghanaian worker the amount of money due them by way of their tier 2 pension payment for 8 months, amounting to over 1 billion Ghana cedis.
But organized labor should know that we're in a period of a crisis.
No, but that's bankruptcy.
Okay.
And that is what Dr. Kofi Amwa is talking about. That's the evidence. When we say an economy is bankrupt, for the first time since 1957, the Akufo-Addo administration had obtained the dubious distinction as having engaged in a haircut domestic debt exchange program. That is your scorecard. 2, do you know what the Akufo-Addo administration decided to do? They went to the Eurobond market and, as part of the prospectus, told investors that Ghana will be producing about 500,000 barrels of crude a day. Investors took the bait, right?
What do you mean by they took the bait?
I'm just coming.
It's a proposition.
Prospectus. They made them believe. And they took the bait. Do you know what has happened? Investors gave over $11 billion of Eurobond free money to this administration. This government had defaulted in paying them. That is bankruptcy. Today, Ghana's credit rating is junk. We have never gotten to this stage before. That is your scorecard. The man says you have the largest debt. Bank of Ghana just released the public debt. 610 billion Ghana cedis. This is the largest we have seen. So what is it that Kofi Amwa has said? That is not evidenced by your incompetence.
Well, he's a bitter person because he had his financial institution going down.
How does the bitterness resolve the issue of bankruptcy, largest debt, and even more? By 2022, the Akufo-Addo administration got to 54% of inflationary rates. At that time, the only two countries that we performed better was Sudan and Zimbabwe. That is your record. As we speak today, the Ghana cedi is doing almost 14 cedis to $1. In the words of Dr. Bawumia, when in doubt, observe the exchange rate. That exchange rate is the worst that we have gotten to. In fact, under Bawumia, do you know that today, government communicators compare records within the same Akufo-Addo administration? They'll tell you that, oh, we took inflation from 15% to 54%, but we brought it down. So now the competition is even among themselves. They'll tell you that, oh, we took the cedi to 17%, but we brought it to 14%, so we have done well.
Oh, you're talking about from the 2022 period?
Yes. The same people. So they are now competing, comparing their own record. They no longer compare their record with John Mahama. No, that one is a standalone stellar performance. And you see, when the Akufo-Addo administration told Eurobond investors that they were going to do 500,000 barrels per day, these investors were lured into giving money to this incompetent, corrupt administration. What has been the scorecard? The model Akufo-Addo and Bawumia use on foreign investors, how different is that model from NAM1's model?
What do you mean by that? It's a proposition. When you do a road show, you make a proposition to investors.
But today,
the money markets.
Yes. So these investors believe. Is that not what NAM1 had been telling his investors? That you double up their money if they buy a certain amount of gold. I am saying that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration decided to use the NAM1 model on investors. And the danger is that today, we do not have credibility. Dr. Kofi Amwa, what did he say exactly? Look, the Ghana Living Standards report, okay, on unemployment today. And so it comes to the question of highest joblessness.
Please be mindful of the table mic.
Sorry. It shows that today, youth unemployment.
You're taking this from
the Ghana Living Standards. And this is Ghana Statistical Service.
Certainly.
Under Akufo-Addo administration. Youth unemployment had moved from 21% to 32% under Akufo-Addo and Bawumia. This is not the Ghana Statistical Service under John Mahama churning out this statistical information. No. Under Akufo-Addo himself. Youth unemployment is 32%. Now, general unemployment had moved from 8% under John Mahama to 14% under Akufo-Addo Bawumia. So when the man says, and do you know the curious thing about the Ghana Living Standards research? The region with the highest unemployment is Northeast, where Bawumia comes from.
What's the point? They had always been some difficulties.
No, they say charity begins from where? If the man, home? Yes, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
What's your point?
His own home region, where he comes from, has the highest unemployment region by region in Ghana today. So when Dr. Kofi Amwa makes the point about the scorecard of this incompetent, clueless administration, all he's saying is that we are bankrupt. We are not able to service our public debt by reason of bankruptcy. That aside, what the man is saying is that we have the largest debt. And now this is the shocking aspect of our public debt. Do you know that as of 2016, a typical Ghanaian, your share of our public debt was 3,700 Ghana cedis. Today, the share of a Ghanaian out of our public debt is 20,000 Ghana cedis from 3,000. So today, by reason of Akufo-Addo Bawumia's recklessness in managing the Ghanaian economy, you are indebted to the tune of 20,000 Ghana cedis. That is your record. And so when a respectable person like Dr. Kofi Amwa...
Well, you said Dr. Kofi Amwa is a bitter man. Though respected as we
that is why I am saying that. How does his bitterness discredit these numbers? If you are saying that it is not true that Ghana is bankrupt, then your story is believable. It is not true that we have the largest debt, then your story is believable. Do you know the kind of economy that we have today? This is what we call a bankrupt economy, a default economy, haircut economy, debt-riddled economy, overtaxed economy, high inflationary economy, high monetary policy economy. That is the record of Bawumia as the chair of the economic management team. Why do you think that today Bawumia is no longer interested in speaking to the economic numbers?
I don't understand you. He says digitalization is the vehicle at which you tend to grow the economy. That's his drive now. So that's a policy focus.
So how come that when you were leaving home this morning, your chop money, you didn't put your Ghana card on the table? According to Bawumia, the economy is what is in your pocket, and no amount of economic gymnastics can resolve that problem. How come that Sakasalia this morning, leaving home, he didn't put his Ghana card on the table and say, wifey, I put my Ghana card on the table. Digitalization will solve what you need to eat this morning or what you need for the children to go to school. The economy is the amount of money in your pocket. And Bawumia understands that. The only challenge is that he's not responsible. Bawumia has demonstrated that he's never responsible for anything. What you do in crisis is for a leader to show up and say, listen, this is the problem and I'll fix it. How come Bawumia cannot tell the good people of this country that he will solve the problem of the economy? He cannot.
Okay, let's get on to the subject of the constant power outages. And early on, you said ECG is more believable despite the position of the PURC. So from that point, what is being done to resolve the crisis? I think you don't experience it in your area. I don't know where you live, but...
Yeah, first of all, I don't know what the EDG mean by Bawumia is not responding to the economy and all those things. I think that some of these arguments that you people do is so mundane that you should not be doing it on national television. Bawumia has always tackled the economy. And indeed, the digitalization is part of the economy. Because if you are talking about even corruption, the interface between human and all those things, and how to generate revenue, you know, with digitalization and all those, it's part of the economy. Okay. We have said this over and over, but the NDC, out of mischief and political propaganda, decided that they would turn deaf ear. I mean, we all know that if you look at the various period between the NPP and NDC, we have had 4 good years of economic development that was the envy of the world. To the extent that for 3 or so consecutive years, Ghana was the fastest growing economy in the world.
Dumsor. I'm
yes.
About
so if he's talking about what Kofi Amwa talk about corruption, when Kofi Amwa was a normalization chairman, didn't they accuse him
of to the questioner about how government
of packeting 50,000
based on the information you picked up before coming here this morning?
So I'm saying
the difficulties that consumers face.
First of all, like I said, the very beginning, we all know the problem that we are in. And the problem is not something that is so grave, that is not unsurmountable.
I don't understand you. You mean that the power outages we're facing is not humongous, just to use a synonym?
Yeah, exactly.
You said grave.
Yeah, it's not
It's not serious.
It's not that grave that we cannot surmount.
It's not serious.
No, listen. It's not something that is unsurmountable. Taking into consideration the history of this government, what we have been able to do over the last 7 years. We have ensured that we've gotten money to do everything and anything that we set out to do. And it includes this particular challenge. This particular challenge, if you compare that one to what we experienced in 2012 up to 2016 under John Dramani Mahama, this one pale into insignificance. But I'm saying that we are not just sitting down and saying and saying that, oh, these are not serious issues as compared to Mahama. But we are doing everything possible to ensure, because look, energy is everything. I mean, the energy is intertwined with almost all the subsectors. Without energy, like we're under the NDC, what happened? Where almost all the other sectors grew negative, some reduced in growth and all those things, all due to the fact that we had energy crisis. Knowing all this,
Mr. Sakasali, I asked you a specific question.
I'm now landing.
The way you're landing, it's not landing.
I'm hitting on
a specific question.
So first of all,
Mr. Sakasali, and I will pose the question
first of all,
again.
Yeah.
From the information you've gotten from the sources within government, whether it's the Ministry of Energy, whether it's the Energy Commission, the ECG itself, which you think should be the body for which we should get the right sort of information. How are we resolving the difficulties, constant power outages that consumers like you and I, even though you haven't confirmed that you experience Dumsor, to resolve that problem?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Yeah. So I'm coming. Don't you see? We all know that when we talk of proper Dumsor, Dumsor so properly so called, it is the NDC that can define it for us. I mean, they have taken us through that. But I'm saying that what we are experiencing now, the ECG is telling us about some number of transformers in certain areas that culminated in the situation that we are in. To that extent, the government is seriously in the process of ensuring that with ECG, GRICO, and the VRA, we get all those, equipment that is needed to ensure that we replace some of these.
How?
Oh, how are you saying?
Are you saying that we have faulty equipment or generating plants? Because you mentioned
no, because
how are we resolving the difficulties that
I am saying,
consumers?
First of all, before you get to how you are resolving it, you should be able to diagnose what the problem is. Unfortunately for us, ECG, the major player, I mean the player or the one in charge is telling us the problem. And to that extent, the government with ECG and some of the other stakeholders are putting in place measures to ensure that those problems are resolved. Like what we did in Kumasi. Look at the 6 turbines of the General Electric plant that we took to Kumasi. We ensure that, you see, it's not about, how many generation, how many capacity did you add in those things. Some apologies of the NDC have been throwing some of those things. What generation did you put in all those things? When indeed you had signed unnecessary take-or-pay agreement that is grappling.
That is why we have the Dumsor currently.
I'm saying that I gave you the reason for the Dumsor. Didn't I tell you of transformers? Didn't I? And is that not the statement that was released by ECG?
So that's the cause.
So you cannot.
So how are we resolving that?
We will resolve that by ensuring that we replace the faulty transformers. We will resolve that by ensuring that some of the transmission lines that are obsolete are replaced. We ensure the efficiency of the electricity subsector itself, the distribution sector, the transmission sector, and all that. So these are the things that government is doing. So when we come and we manufacture our own a problem and then heap it on government, they are not doing A, B, C, D. When the player itself is telling you the problem, one can say about what we said about the PURC. PURC.
I have Nakofi who even says that even our lights are off around Tesano and Abeka area.
No, of course. I mean, I told you.
You told me what?
I told you that lights being off in itself is not something that is new. But the point is that nobody is playing the ostrich. We have not played the ostrich any bit.
So how are we resolving? You haven't answered the question.
Told you. So what else do you want to be resolved? I've told you that the problems has to do with some transformers that are obsolete, faulty transformers, and government and ECG.
That's over a month ago. How are we resolving it? 630, we haven't repaired them yet.
I am saying that there's a procurement process in place to ensure that all those things are replaced. And government is also ensuring that the grid, we take some load off the grid by ensuring that, like what we did with the General Electric plant that we took to the Ashanti region to ensure.
Which General Electric plant?
Oh, the sister turbines that NDC people call the Ameri.
Oh.
you understand? The Ameri was just a middleman. Okay. You know, he was just a middleman who added 160 million to the real price of the plant. And the NDC says that we should be calling the plant Ameri plant. That is a problem. I'm saying that it is about prudent management. Look at something like car power. When we came, the car power was sitting here, and then the NDC was transporting 50 million Ghana cedis every month to come and then feed car power. We ensure that we take it straight to where we can get the fuel, so that directly you don't have to incur the cost. So sometimes it's not about the addition of megawatts and all those things. It's about prudent management of the sector that ensure that we keep the electricity on. And another thing.
I have Kalni Domenyo, who is watching us from Charlotte, North Carolina, and he says that you seem not to have heard my question. I also go on to Lord Kofi from Temon Oyarifa. He says, Roland, Saka has still not heard your question, no. So repose the question. You are not answering the question. You came here with your own questions and answers,
No, I've told you that the whole sector...
Please end for me.
Yeah, the whole sector needs prudent management. And in managing it prudently, there are certain things that must be done. For instance, if you talk about electricity, the president the last time talked about the fact that by the end of the year, we would have, brought everybody onto the grid about 100% and all that. So it means that there is growth in the electricity subsector, and therefore people, the government will have to be proactive. Okay. We ensure that we did that, and in doing so, the transmission line, the transformers, and all those things periodically will have to be replaced. And if you don't replace them, it will come to a time where the situation that we are experiencing would occur. Okay. And I'm saying currently as we are speaking, government and all the other stakeholders is in the process of ensuring that all transformers, I'm not saying that.
So now it's a transformer problem.
All transformers, as well as whatever generation gap that we have.
Now we just got this morning of the system conditions reading. So when you speak to sources within the power sector, they'll tell you they get generated system condition numbers in terms of how much is being generated. And constantly, if let's say hydro was working very well, they should have been generating in excess of 900 megawatts of power. Sometimes they almost get to close to 1,000, not exactly 1,000. It also means that there are shortages. So as at 10 p.m. yesterday, so for those of you who were sleeping indiscriminately with Dumsor, and those of us who experienced the lights just flicking, don't worry. It's because the plants or the generators are not generating enough. It's not what Saka is saying, according to the sources we are. It's not the generating plant. Okay. So who is saying it?
Is it not the information coming from ECG?
So according to what Saka quoting the ECG is saying, that is because 630 generating transformers have problems. It is actually because, according to our sources, they are not generating enough because they don't have the fuels. So Akostombo is only using 6 units, able to generate 800 and 97 megawatts. So, but we have the Zenith, the TP47, etc., all not generating anything. Usually, you find that Asogli will be generating with a unit of 6 in excess, just like we have for Akosombo, and they are not doing that because, Charlie, they are low on fuel. You go there also, and Ponthermal, just 1. So, we are constantly. Now, let's go to this morning, and this is just about an hour ago. The latest reading we have, and that's how they do the readings. They'll give you system condition 7 a.m., then they'll go to 2 p.m. in the afternoon, then they'll go to 10 p.m. And so this is the latest we have. Today is the 22nd of April, 2024. And we gave you a comparison of 10 p.m. yesterday. So this morning, if you're experiencing Dumsor, it's because we're not generating enough. Because Akosombo is only able to generate 712 megawatts of power. So if you don't have it, don't worry. And these are the difficulties that we're so it's not so. But how?
We see.
Perhaps we need to listen to ECG and not make comparison with some of these figures. Somebody will ask.
Thankfully, our viewers are extremely intelligent and knowledgeable.
What do you mean by that, Educhi?
And so they appreciate ignorance from knowledge. There's a very simple conversation here. Why are we sleeping in darkness? Now, you decide, because you have been given a storyline, to just come and look Ghanaians in the face in the most insensitive manner and tell them that the problem is because of transformer. Ignorantly. The workers of ECG, okay, they have a union. They issued a statement.
Which is what?
And in that statement indicated that they are done with the repairs of their transformers. You don't know? The workers of ECG had given the clearest indication that if you look at the energy sector, you have generators, you have transmitters, and you have a distributor. ECG is only a distributor. So it is what you give ECG that ECG will transmit, will distribute. So you cannot give what you don't have. Basic. So it is not as though the power generators have generated so much power, giving it to ECG, and ECG says, because I have 40 transformers, I am unable
to distribute. So you're saying, really, ECG is not at fault?
No! The problem is the incompetence of the Akufo-Addo administration. Look, do you know what the problem is? Pure finance. And thankfully, the data is there. If you look at your data, you notice that Akosombo has an installed capacity of 1,000 megawatts. But they are doing 800. You understand? So what it means is that even though you have it installed, you're unable to, as it were, generate that amount of power instantly. Now, if you go to the major independent power producers, right, they need gas. The Akufo-Addo administration are so indebted to Nigerian gas and gas. And because of their indebtedness to N-gas, we are not able to get the amount of gas required to power the various thermal plants. Then comes to Ghana, our own home-based gas that we produce from the Ghana Gas Project. We need a certain amount of gas for the plants. We are not able to generate. In fact, but for John Mohammed's visionary leadership in the ENI projects, by now would have been in the worst form of Dumsor. Even with that, this government is supposed to get $50 million every month to buy light crude for the plants. They don't have the money. They are bankrupt. So the independent power producers that need that $50 million to generate power, the money is not there. And because the money is not there, there is what you call a generational shortfall. that generational shortfall, you cannot get it through prayer and fasting. What you need is visionary leadership to put a plant in place and get it fuel. If you don't have gas, you go for fuel. The government is bankrupt. So they are unable to get the needed money to buy either light crude or to get the available gas to power the plant. That's all the problem.
But Saka would not be wrong if he quotes the distributor, and the official distributor we have in Ghana, of course, is a monopoly. It's the electricity company of Ghana. They say we have 630 over a month ago. Saka, that was over a month ago, right?
No, beyond a month. So
not up to a month. It's
so
over a month
hold
ago.
on. Hold on.
So he's not wrong if he has to quote.
I beg you. You see, after this statement, okay, then Gridco issued another statement. Then the Workers' Union of ECG then countered it by saying that they are done with their transformers, their repairs. And now the problem is about generational shortfall because of finance, money. Now get something. The visionary John Dramani Mahama brought about ESLA. And you recall the conversation when ESLA came in 2015.
Which is what?
Our friends in the NPP said it was a nuisance tax and that with the benefit of power, they were going to abrogate it. Now, get something. ESLA was just for 5 years. Immediately, that's the sunshine the clause. When these guys came, what did they do? They used the ESLA receivables to go for the ESLA PLC bonds. And now extended ESLA to 2035 because we had to pay for those bonds. So the ESLA that was supposed to last for only 5 years, we have extended it for additional 15 years.
Because of the securitization?
Yes, because of the bonds. Now, this is where the issue becomes even tricky. In the space of 7 years, ESLA bonds alone had the ESLA PLC, the ESLA receivables, had given this administration 25 billion Ghana cedis. Question, where is the money? Sikano Wahi. Do you know, by reason of the ESLA bonds that they went in for, the expectation was that they will use the bonds to retire the debts within the energy sector. Today, as we speak, we owe Talo, we owe ENI, we owe almost everybody within the value chain. As for the independent power producers, we owe them $1.5 billion. Now, $1.5 billion as an exchange rate of 13 Ghana cedis. That's humongous. So everything within the power sector has been destroyed by this incompetent, clueless government. Now he talks about take or pay. You see, sometimes I don't know when they give you these storylines, with the greatest respect, do you probe when they give you these storylines?
What do you mean by a storyline?
When these storylines...
Do you also probe when they give you storylines?
See,
you do admit that you've been communicating with him for a long time.
That is why I am surprised. Because after 13 years...
So are you telling me that you have been given a storyline?
After 13 years...
He said he hasn't been given.
I expect...
Please respect his...
Yes, I do. But I expect a certain, you know, the quality. But you look, when the Honorable Alassane Suhuyini asked the finance minister to provide the people of this country how much we have paid for excess capacity. Now listen to Ken Oforiatta. This is what he says.
In response to Suhuyini's question.
This is parliamentary. I just pull it from the hands. Oh,
no, this is a public document.
Tell us.
Let me. Oh, it says, Mr. Speaker, the underlisted independent power producers have received payment for excess capacity charge for the period under review, 2017 to 2020, totaling $937 million. Breakdown is as follows. AXA, $347 million. Car Power, $359 million. SEM Power, $231 million. These are plants that are producing power and selling.
What's your point with this? This reference to the question that was asked by Suhuyini.
The point I am making is that he just sat on this platform and said they've been paying for excess capacity. You have not paid for any excess capacity. What you have been paying for is power produced and consumed. When the independent power producer produces your power and you take it, you pay. It is take or pay simply means that the person is not producing. By reason of contractual obligation, you are still paying for not doing. Car power is produced. In fact, he even said they have moved car power to a closer point where they will get even cheaper gas. Same power is producing power. AXA is producing. In fact, you have extended the AXA deal. So at all material time, you've been paying for power produce and consume.
No, but the reason
so
why...
you should understand what happens within the energy sector. Don't allow anybody to give you narrative for you.
When you say that, it's as if that he doesn't have a mind of his own.
But you see, no. Look, in fact, you got more of the time.
No, it's not true.
Look, you have a minute. I want to read some messages.
On this platform,
respectfully for my viewers.
Yeah, just a minute. On this platform, he says, oh, John Mahama is corrupt. And reference Martin Amidu. Martin Amidu has never alleged personal corruption against John Mahama. Never. Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, listen carefully, appointed Mr. Martin Amidu. In fact, he did a road show the day he appointed him and extolled his anti-corruption credentials. It is on record that Martin Alamisi Kaiser Amidu had put on record that within the corruption space, Akufo-Addo is ranked the mother serpent of corruption.
I hope you give me what you did.
The mother serpent of corruption. That is how Martin Amidu described Mr. Akufo-Addo. What was the basis? He said Akufo-Addo, whilst he was doing the risk analysis, had called him personally to intervene for Ken Ofori-Atta. That record is there.
Natural justice.
But you see,
give him opportunity to respond.
It takes a very useless government, and let me repeat, a very useless government.
Please, you have a minute.
That in 7 years have a president who they know is corrupt. But for 7 good years, they have not even invited him before the village chief.
What do you mean by that?
In 7 years. This useless administration, claiming that John Mahama is corrupt, has not invited John Mahama to have... has not invited John Mahama to appear before even the village chief to answer charges on corruption.
The position you're espousing is that if really...
How in God's name do you know that the man is corrupt? He's living in this country. He has stayed here. You know his house. You know everything about him. His movement around the country campaigning. You know his corrupt.
Just 2
you
minutes
have not
before
even
you go
said
to
Yoko boss. Call John Mahama to come and respond to this allegation of corruption. 7 years. How
don't be using 7 years. Roland.
No,
we are in this country.
Okay.
Where has John Mahama gone?
You made your point.
You are a lawyer.
So
if you use the word 7 years,
Mr.
you know that
in this country.
It's okay. Let me read some comments. No, hold on.
You see, so the point to be made very clear.
You've made your point.
John Dramani Mahama
please, off your mics for me. Let me also...
How is he clean? How is somebody like John Mahama clean?
Yao Martin on our stream says, lights out at Pokwase, Saperman.
Somebody just sent the text. Even Obuasi, he just sent the text.
Ni Tete Namwale, good morning to you. I've seen your message. And then Muhammad Abdul says, hey, Yaduji. Yo. And please, let's be civil with the language you use on the stream. It helps all of us to get the messages through, okay? Using derogatory words will not help us have a civil language. And I'm appealing to all of us so that we'll have a nice conversation.
When something is not useful, it's useless.
Aduji, please. And then Idris Wahab says, Roland, I'm in Wa, and truthfully, my light went off yesterday from 11:30 p.m. until 7:30 a.m. this morning. I even had to watch and stream. I couldn't iron my clothes this morning before I left for work. Oh, so I'm asking, what are you wearing? Is it crumpled shirts? Well, it happens to all of us, I guess. Now, Bagia Nuruddin said, kudos to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, for modernizing the Ghanaian governance system. The world must observe and learn. It is possible with a hashtag. Musa Ali Kone says, kindly let Sakasalia speak. And, well, some of you should use words so that I can, when I'm sieving through the messages, I can constantly also be in a position to read. George Alote. And George Alote says, did he say Martin Amidu never said this against Mahama? Just Google and you will find. And that's George Alote. Now, I have this one.
Never said GM.
I have this one also. I have this one from Bryant. Bryant said they didn't create that amount of jobs stated in the 2024 budget. Dr. Baumia, in his UPSA speech and performance tracker, is now having all of us look at the contradictions and the increase in unemployment at a rate of 14.7. Now, BT Sly, good morning to you. Unfortunate for Saka, he isn't the one to define Dumsor for us. Almost all of Wa Central constituents where Saka comes from. Saka, do you come from Wa?
Yeah.
No, people know you. You're very popular. Anyway, you've been communicating for a lot of time, so people know you. Comes from slept in darkness yesterday. And that's from BT Sly. Now, Anas Nadoli Kalio. Anas, again, I encourage you, the language. I only read messages that have good language. You can read the article below and fix yourself as well as you were with Joy News. Okay? Insulting others. Okay. 11 principles you should understand about politics before you stress yourself. Nobody has your interest. Everybody is chasing their own interest. Dealing with politicians is like sleeping with tigers. You must always have your eyes open. Anas Nadoli Kalio. Now, you are defending why, Anas Nadoli Kalio, why the wire lights are out. You said the wire lights are out due to high tension wire, due to the strong wind yesterday in my area. Anas Nadoli Kalio, thank you. You come from where, right?
Yeah, of course.
The Enclave.
Yeah.
Hey, people are defending others, but he admits.
Yeah, they are making a lot of sense. You know my people.
He admits that the Dumsor though. Now, PHK
no, but
says...
you see, when the light is off, does not necessarily mean it's Dumsor.
PHK says, Saka came to the studio with his own questions and is answering all of them. Hey! But I think respectfully. Now, for 2 minutes, let me read. Chris from Ashalibuche says, so why will MPP communicators like Salia, who has been doing this for a very long time, I know he's knowledgeable, blame everybody except themselves for the mismanagement of the economy? And when they are called out, they are also extremely arrogant. I'm not sure you're watching. Saka is not usually an arrogant person, I have to admit. I've known him for a long time. Chris from Ashalibuche, good morning to you, Chris. And then also I have this one from Ismaila Horoya, who says, I like the way Aduji is mentioning the name visionary leader. And then Hamid, good morning to you. Hamid Kanyete Salifu says, it is always a delight to watch Eduji Tamaklo. I have Raffle Osei, who is from Inshaeso in Kumasi, says, we admit that there are difficulties with our light. Even here in Kumasi, we're experiencing it. But we can't compare it to 4 years that was experienced under John Dramani Mahama's government. They are not the same, even though it will be improved. Aziz Donla also has a message. And, hey, Charlie, the messages here, they're coming. Bonti Benjamin, let me see what I can get from Bonti Benjamin says, good morning to all of you. Cheers to everybody else. It's Samuel Jinapo's birthday, MP for Damango. And that's from Bonti Benjamin. I have one moment. This one is coming from Sam. Sam from Dansoman says, for a government that rose to power on the heels of Dumsor and other ill-informed slogans, why did you have to wait for us to experience that terrible Dumsor with no timetable? Besides, PRC says the transformer story cannot be the case. Okay. He says I should put out data. I did put out the data. Bruce Fokwo also said, now, Nelson Yesuto says, the silence of this MPP group on this Dumsor issue is better than when they speak. They get Ghanaians angry more than when they talk. And you bring us your own version of your timetable. Amasaman on Monday, La Paz on Tuesday, Medina on Wednesday, Pig Farm on Thursday, Mataheko on Friday, Michelle Camp Saturday, Okpanglo on Sunday. All right. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. But let's have a wrap-up comment on now. Saka, just...
Oh, no, so you should wrap up. Should I wrap up last?
Oh, I just finished.
Do you want to moderate now?
Oh, okay. All right. No problem.
1.5 minutes, please.
Yeah. Oh. First of all, I think that when it comes to the energy sector, we have said it time and time again that this government has...
You and who have said who and who?
I mean,
you mean government?
We as Ghanaians have said it time and time again that when it comes to the energy sector, the NPP government and the Nana Donko Akufo-Addo and the J. Kufuor had outperformed all the NDC governments put together. Indeed, when you talk about the energy sector, you talk about even the discovery of the oil itself. That is the base. Discovery of the oil. Under the NDC, why were they talking? Why were they telling us they could not get, this gas, even though the West Africa gas pipeline were there? They were indebted for almost the whole 4 years and all that. But I'm saying that in terms of, whether or not John Dramani Mahama is corrupt, he himself, when he was asked, in an interview, whether or not he, as a human, whether or not he's corrupt, he could not even answer. He said as a human being or what? But you see, Siraj itself indicted him during in the Jibril Kanozua matter, when he said that he, as a president, could not even obey or live up to the expectation when it comes to his own code of conduct. That was the indictment Siraj gave him. The fact of the embryo is there for everybody to see. That Professor Mills actually constituted a 3-member committee, and those committees were led by William Abua, who was the Interior Minister, then George Amwa, and Brigadier General Alote, retired. These were the people. And Hamidi himself, Martin Hamidi himself, said that he could not work with people within the NDC because they were corrupt. And that was the reason why he resigned during the time of Professor Mills. But the Airbus matter, we are all privy to what he said.
That's why we can't.
That he said that because of the election in 2020, he was not going to take the matter, but he was waiting after the election. Then he would take the Airbus matter. So, in terms of corruption, you are a lawyer. You should know that there's a status bar when it comes to prosecution of a president, and you keep on mentioning 7 years, as if even after the period, about 3.5 years, we should still continue, even when there are matters, a new discovery. The president is, is immune for prosecution after that period. So don't be using the word 7 years.
Unfortunately, I have to give
but the fact in ending, I will just conclude.
You haven't ended.
I will just conclude by saying that this nation, if we need somebody to salvage us from where we are coming from, that is the recovery of COVID-19, and to ensure that we recover this economy, you don't need John Dramani Mahama. You need somebody like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who can think outside the box and who's an economy, and he knows what to do to ensure that we take this nation to the promised land.
Promised land.
Yes. So
how did you promise land? 2 minutes.
The promised land is highest inflation. The promised land is a bankrupt economy.
How did you have 2 minutes?
The promised land is the fact that today the economy is completely destroyed. But more importantly, Mr. Akufo-Addo does not have the courage to look Ghanaians in the face, together with his co-driver, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Look Ghanaians in the face and say, look, we are sorry. We have destroyed the economy. A, B, C, D. What leadership requires? It's for a leader to look his people and say, for the sake of planning, I am directing ECG, Gridco, and the power producers to together come out with a timetable so that Ghanaians can properly plan. What Ghanaians are asking for is the opportunity to plan. The person should know that once I'm going home, I am going to sleep in the dark. That is all that they want.
Your time is up.
But you see,
How do you know
because of arrogance. Oh, you gave me 2 minutes. I was no.
How would you know
because of arrogance, they do not want to do that. All because of arrogance. And you see, if you should ask my brother now whether there is Dumsor, he will tell you that there is no Dumsor. But deliberately they are doing this. This said, I want to make the point clear. The SRAJ reports on the fraud is there. No evidence of corruption or findings of corruption have been made against John Mahama in the SRAJ report. Is there?
There is.
Please, you see, I said something earlier and my brother, look, the SRAJ report is in black and white. You should be able to read.
SRAJ report says,
so the SRAJ report says that
no Mahama gave code of conduct to his appointees, and he himself could not follow the code of conduct.
Having yourself onto place.
None of these are
because he's peddling falsehood.
But you see, before I leave, there's this 84-year-old woman who is watching you, Madame Christiana Vomewo, and he says today is her 84th birthday.
Oh, okay.
So do that for
Madame Christian Vomewo, 84 years is a lifetime.
And she's religiously following you.
And thank you for constantly following us right here on TV3 New Day and the conversations we tend to have. This one is coming from Mike Aflu. Mike Kofi Aflu says the MPP only wants to give ECG a bad name and sell it simpliciter. In Latin, when they say simpliciter, what does it mean, sir? Simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
But it's a lie. You know, you remember
Maxwell
when the NDC wanted to sell.
Please, Maxwell Akpabli from East Ayawaso East constituency. Please ask Sakasalia that there was light out in around Kotobabi, Nima, and Kohumemi on Wednesday and Friday, and that was not Dumsor. We beg him to stop disrespecting us. Hey, Charlie, you people. Aziz Donla Wa, he's a regular watcher of the show, says the whole Nadoli Kalio district was off for 2 days. Why can't government roll out the timetable for onward planning? Certainly, Dumsor is here with us, and that's the only conclusion. In fact, this one is coming from Lydia in Cape Coast. He said, in fact, Dumsor has intensified in Cape Coast, and it's very bad. And the weather is also not favorable. We are begging the president to do something about this. All right.
You are
my producer says, I have a minute. Let me read this so that I can... Abbas. Amogobo,
watch Ghanaians.
And people are full of...
and I'm asking you.
The pain they are going through. You are gaslighting them. This is not fair. This is not fair.
I am asking you.
This is not fair.
Why are you
Mr.
Akwesa watching us from the US. Saka is always not truthful and is annoying us. Saka is but he's not perfect in it. You shouldn't compare. And this is coming from Kafui from home. We're taking a break. Again, we have cash out. Please, we have cash out. Cash out goes with please put the cash out there for me. Cash out, cash out, cash out, cash out. Please cash out. Star 439 hash. Star 439 hash enables you to choose option 2. And then you get money credited into your mobile money account. And please make sure, Saka, do you know cash out? Cash out goes with the Shoko Star 439. Take your phone right now. You get money credit.
For the phone cash.
Yes, it's available.
Okay.
MTN, Vodafone is now... Telecel, Saka. Saka is Telecel. Government did the transition.
Saka didn't sleep.
Saka. It's Telecel, Saka. Anthony, good morning to you as well. And then Isa from Tema. He says, Dumsor, Saka should tell the people of Ghana.